Hey buds, Old and Gold here. Anyone who has watched television knows that sitcoms are a staple of the medium. From the good to the bad, everyone knows at least one, and most have a favorite they like to watch whenever it's on. I, for one, am partial to the calm and relaxing Fraiser. However, there is another sitcom that I am quite partial to that I'd care to say is the greatest TV show my country has produced. A little show called Corner Gas. Corner Gas was a Canadian sitcom on CTV created by and starring comedian Brent Butt. It ran for 6 seasons from 2004 to 2009, released a movie in 2014, and was revived as an animated series in 2018. Needless to say, this show was and still is very popular. I still see reruns of the original series on TV to this day. To explain why that is, you need to take a look at the show itself and the impact it had. The premise of Corner Gas is that it follows the residents of Dog River, a small, rural Saskatchewan town, and the various antics which they get up to in their small town lifestyle. These antics generally revolve in and around the town's gas station, Corner Gas, and its connecting restaurant, the Ruby Cafe. But by no means does the show limit itself to this only location. This isn't Cheers, otherwise known as the inferior Fraiser. Now, that may sound like a show about nothing, but like Seinfeld, which popularized that description, it really is the characters and their interactions which make the show so funny and compelling. However, the setting is just as important of a character as everyone else. As I mentioned, Corner Gas is set in Saskatchewan, the middle of the prairie provinces, and the middle of the country. Well, middle adjacent. The province is known for being a place where it is boring and the people are old. Not to mention the fact that the landscape is as flat as a very thin pancake.
Yep, checks out.
I kid. We like to poke fun at Saskatchewan, but it's an alright place. I mean, you could do worse.
No, please, anywhere but here.
Corner Gas makes great use of this setting over its run, and shines a humorous light into the realities of small-town Saskatchewan living. A combination insurance and liquor store, which is actually based off a real store in Rouleau where the actual set was, having a world's biggest attraction.
We should build a hoe.
World's biggest hoe?
They do attract people.
And the everyday events that shake up a sleepy town. It makes sense why Corner Gas can so effectively portray these idiosyncrasies of rural Saskatchewan living, considering that the creator, after all, is from a rural Saskatchewan town. But what is significant about this choice and setting is that the amount of media set in Saskatchewan and the prairies in general is about as empty as the land itself. So that meant that when this show premiered, it filled an oftentimes empty niche and became very popular with the people who lived here, because it is not often you see the prairies represented on the small screen. It became a cultural symbol for Saskatchewan, like Prince Edward Island's obsession with Anne of Green Gables. I mean, the show was even given its own special day by the Saskatchewan premiere in 2009. As Corner Gas's popularity spread throughout the country, it would not be a surprise to me if other Canadians' first and only interaction with Saskatchewan was through the show. But besides all that, the greatest contributing factor to Corner Gas's success was that it was a pretty damn entertaining sitcom. And to illustrate this, I will go over one such episode, Season 1's second episode, Taxman. This episode opens at the Ruby Cafe where Lacey is serving Brent a coffee. For those of you who haven't had nearly 2 decades of rerun experience and need some quick character rundowns, this is Brent Leroy, played by series creator Brent Butt. He's the owner of the Corner Gas gas station and is known for his sarcastic banter. Meanwhile, Lacey Burrows is the owner of the Ruby Cafe and is a new arrival to Dog River from Toronto, which makes her at odds with the other characters as she tries to fit in.
Not in Toronto anymore, Lacey, with your Grande Mocha Dapalopa Frappuccino. This is Saskatchewan. Tommy Douglas fought the federal government for free refills on coffee.
Oh, really? I thought Tommy Douglas fought for free healthcare.
Well, after the coffee thing, there was a lot of kidney disorder.
Here in this opening scene, the B plot of the episode is established, which is that Lacey is not offering free refills like the old owner of the cafe, her Aunt Ruby, had done in the past, highlighting her urban background. This is a prevalent theme which defines many of the episodes of Corner Gas, particularly in the early seasons. Following an absolutely classic opening intro, we are introduced to this episode's guest character, the eponymous Taxman, played by Kevin McDonald.
I guess I did come on a little quickly there. My name is Marvin Dre.
Muffin tray?
Marvin Dre. I work for Canada Customs and Revenue.
Ah, the tax man.
Now, Muffin Dre, or Marvin Dre, is the main reason why I chose this specific episode, and that's because the character is just so quotable.
I'm not the tax man.
I'm a tax man. Saying the tax man is just a little dehumanizing, thank you very much. That line is engraved into my mind. Marvin explains he has arrived at Dog River to look into the tax records of one Oscar Leroy, who just so happens to be Brent's father. Brent tries to cover for Oscar with this great line.
I don't think he's here. I think he went to Hawaii.
Hawaii?
Not Hawaii. Somewhere cheaper than that. Red Deer.
As someone who has been to Red Deer, I can confirm it is a sad place, but at least they have the donut mill. However, Brent's efforts are for naught as the man of the hour walks in and we are introduced to Oscar, a cranky and stubborn old man with a particular interest in words that mean donkey.
Jackass. Jackass! Hey, jackass, stop talking with this old wingnut and pump my gas.
He is also arguably the funniest and most popular character on the show, and a major force in pushing the plot forward in whatever scheme he has in each episode.
Hey, I don't get the paper.
Well, you got one now, jackass.
Of course, when Oscar meets the taxman, he curses him out and nothing is solved.
Crappensy, what are you talking about? I file my taxes every year. My taxes pay your damn salary, so you can just turn around and go back where you came from.
Continuing the B-plot, we are introduced to the two police officers of Dog River, Davis and Karen, who are equally as taken aback by having to pay for coffee as Brent was. Davis Quinton is the senior cop of the duo and is known for his lax attitude towards the law and sensitive, lighthearted personality. Karen Pelly is the junior officer and is Davis's more serious and ambitious counterpart. Davis becomes upset both at having to pay for coffee and for Karen offering to pay for it, and so in petty revenge, he takes it out on the town by issuing many parking tickets. Returning to Brent, we find him at Corner Gas where he banters with Wanda Dollard, the sarcastic know-it-all cashier for Corner Gas, about the new taxman in town.
And whatever you do, don't call him the tax man. Call him a tax man, or he kind of goes squirrely on you.
Oh, well, some people are sensitive about article use.
About what?
Proper article use. A or an are indefinite articles. The is a definite article. In fact, some people say the is a definite article.
Yeah, people say a lot of stuff.
In walks Oscar, who enlisted Hank Yarbo, Brent's best friend since childhood and the local town idiot, to help him come up with a plan to get back at the taxman and get out of his tax predicament. Naturally, due to Hank's lack of intellect,
2 words. Blackmail.
he comes up with a plan to get the taxman drunk and have him drop and mix up his papers, thus leaving him too embarrassed to continue the tax case. Naturally, this plan is met with rousing approval by Brent.
Are you drunk now?
At the Ruby, Lacey and Marvin, aka the Taxman, develop a connection based on their mutual background as city folk when Karen pleads for Lacey to give Davis free coffee to stop his petty reign of parking ticket terror. Cutting to Oscar trying to find the tax documents at his home, we are introduced to his wife, Emma Leroy, Brent's strong-willed mother, who is the dominant force in the household. After some old married couple banter,
If you're looking for your Garfield books, I threw them away.
I'm not looking for my Garfield books. Why would you throw away my Garfield books?
sorry, I'm with Oscar on this one. Why would you throw away his Garfield books? We find out that Emma put the tax papers in the garage, but Oscar is so thick-headed and stubborn that he forgot and refuses to believe they are there. At this point in the episode, the A and B plots converge as the other characters grow tired of Davis's ticket antics, and Brent decides to talk to Lacey to fix it.
I better go talk to Lacey about this before things get out of hand.
Things really got out of hand today, and
This sudden cutaway gag to a hypothetical news story, reporting on a worst-case scenario told by Brent to convince Lacey, is not an uncommon type of joke used in Corner Gas. I know that cutaway gags have been given a bad rap from shows like Family Guy, which overuse the style, but personally, I think Corner Gas uses them realistically and sparingly enough that it isn't an issue. Besides, how could I live without seeing Stephen Harper giving his thoughts on prairie dogs versus gophers?
Mr. Prime Minister, what do you make of this controversy?
Now look, I like prairie dogs and I like gophers, but sadly neither were given the respect they deserve under the previous Liberal government.
If you had to choose one, which would it be?
Well, I guess I'd pick prairie dogs. No, gophers. I meant to say gophers.
While Lacey is a bit hesitant to give Davis free coffee, even after the warning given by Brent's apocalyptic cutaway, who comes to save this predicament if none other than the true hero of this episode, the taxman himself?
You can write the coffee off, give them their coffee for free, but keep track of how much they drink. Then at year's end, tally it up and claim it as a promotion and advertising expense. Even if they each drink 2 cups every day, that's $2,190 a year, which is a pretty reasonable deduction for a business of this size. Who's the bad guy now, huh?
If anyone deserves a funk edit, it's him. In the final scenes of the episode, all the plot lines and conflicts are solved. Brent and the taxman make up at the town bar. Hank and Oscar's plan to embarrass the taxman fails spectacularly. Davis ends his ticket crusade. The tax issue has been solved. And in the last scene, we see that Brent and Oscar are more alike than they care to admit. I hope that this examination of one of my favorite episodes helps demonstrate the high quality of Corner Gas. From the very beginning, it showed how the small town formula was effective for great comedy. Now, I must admit, the reason why I love this show and why I so vigorously sing its praises is not just due to its quality. A lot of it has to do with my own personal experience at the show in my childhood. See, when I was a kid growing up in Western Canada, I watched a lot of TV, as I'm sure other kids did. Typically, youth-oriented programming. But the one show that all my family could watch was Corner Gas. We had many of the seasons on DVD, which I vividly remember watching on an unwieldy portable DVD player while driving across the prairies. I have a lot of nostalgia wrapped up with Corner Gas, as just rewatching the episodes for this video brings me back to the 2000s and early 2010s. It has become my comfort show, and as much as that term ironically makes me uncomfortable, that is what the show is to me. No matter what happens, I can always return to Corner Gas, and its characters, setting, and atmosphere will always be the same. It is that familiarity which so appeals to me, and why I suspect so many sitcoms are people's comfort shows. The fact that Corner Gas is actually funny also helps its appeal. To reinforce this even further, and if seeing the taxman was not enough, here are some of my favorite clips I've collected from the series.
I tell you what, if I die...
What do you mean, if?
Come on, I'm more than qualified.
How do you blow up a salad?
Happens more than you think.
Hey, where's your F&E?
Hank, this is a family restaurant.
No, where's your F and E?
Where's my F&E?
Is this about the polenta? 'Cause I ate a salad. How many freaky foreign foods do you want me to try?
Salad is not foreign.
Yeah, right. Italian dressing, Romanian lettuce, croutons.
You can't even build a birdhouse without it falling apart. That wasn't my fault. Damn birds were horsing around in there. My house, my rules. Just come in and eat. No flying around.
Come on, you big chicken. You haven't accomplished anything with your life. I was trying tough love. I think later when she hit me with a rock, that was tough love too.
I have to go to a scalper.
Isn't that weird for you to go to a scalper?
Why? Because I'm a Cree man? I resent that.
Because you're a police officer and scalping tickets is illegal.
Oh, yeah.
I thought so. These finishing nails haven't even been countersunk. You got ripped off, buddy.
Maybe you could sell them on eBay.
They're not gonna take them at the bay.
Something wrong with my eye, all puffy and itchy. It hurts to look at the sun. I think it might be time to get glasses.
Looks like you have conjunctivitis.
What? Oh man, how long have I got?
I wish.
Hey, you kids! Get the F off my lawn!
To summarize my thoughts on Corner Gas, it is a monolith of Canadian television which has significantly impacted my life growing up in this cold nation. It is a constant of my childhood, and a show which my whole family could watch and enjoy together. Not only does its setting and characters bring me a sense of comfort and familiarity, but it makes me laugh every time I catch a rerun on TV. It may be old-fashioned, but I think that contributes to its sense of familiarity. If you have not watched it, I highly recommend you do. It didn't run for too long as to become drawn out, and it ended at an acceptable 6 seasons plus a movie, which I thought was alright. I'm Old and Gold, and that was my retrospective of the great Canadian sitcom Corner Gas.